Answering questions such as how do you deal with people that don't like you can be very revealing about one's personality, and this is the main reason why the interviewers are asking them. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 examples, and I'm going to touch upon the 3 of Amazon's 14 leadership principles that have backbone, disagree and commit, bias for action, and insist on the highest standards. Now, also before I get into the examples, I would like to highlight 3 main ingredients of a great answer here. The first one is that you should always look at the job description for clues as to what's the best type of answers for your specific role. For example, for software development engineers, more often than not there will be language from the leadership principles directly in the job description. So you could also, one strategy would be to directly emulate that language within your answers. For more senior types of positions, think more in terms of competency. What types of core competencies are they looking for that are showcased in the job description, and try to take it from there. Now, also very important here is that during the answer you must showcase the diplomatic version of yourself, and you cannot go wrong with such an approach, and you can take it from there to add some drama, add some spice. You understand what I mean. And last but not least, keep in mind that they also want to see how adaptable you are, because the people that are the most successful people nowadays are also the ones that adapt the easiest to change. Now, probably the best example to dealing with people that do not necessarily like me is to talk about a previous business relationship with a business partner whose values were particularly more conservative than mine. And for this, I always ensured that I would first listen to what they said, and I found this particularly important because I wanted to always use this as a starting point to create a factual based rationing on my end. So I would always prefer to use factual information to motivate my answer, and of course data if possible. But this helped to both diffuse a lot of our conflicts, but also to ensure a mutually beneficial relationship throughout our business relationship. And actually this exchange went on for around 5 years, and I believe that this helped me quite a lot to understand, to become a better business partner in many ways. So here was my answer, and your experience might actually differ here, but there are some key aspects that I would like to highlight here. And the first one is, notice that I was actually very upfront. I said from the beginning that we didn't get along too well because his values were particularly more conservative than mine. And I believe it's very important to say this just in order to avoid any sort of misunderstandings here. The second aspect of such an answer is this is within a business context, obviously, and I did emphasize that our relationship went on for quite some time, that is 5 years, which is always good to have within your answer a measurable impact or stuff like that. Then also something that I didn't mention here, but I could have as well done this, was to mention that I'm not bothered by the small stuff. You know, when we would talk about, for instance, implementing something in the software that just a wording difference, just a wording preference, you know, these things are not existential threats to the well-being of a project, so you could just move on from these things. And essentially, it's all these little pieces of advice that allow you to build a great answer to a quite difficult question, actually. Now, I believe a particularly relevant example from my professional career to your question is at the time where I led a team of developers, and specifically when I appointed the new team lead, because they were working remotely for me, so I wanted to have a a main contact point with them. And I remember that she was quite great technically speaking. She was a very talented professional. However, she was a bit shy, and unfortunately, within a team lead context, as a main point of contact, I found this to be a very serious impediment to the well-being of our project. So I decided to coach her, to see what was going on. Maybe I could have been also wrong about this. However, during our coaching, she didn't seem to really relate to what I was saying. She didn't seem to follow my leadership, or she was quite quiet as well. So I started to ask them follow-up questions and make a bit of role-playing there. And in fact, at some point, because of the intensiveness of our conversation, she started to cry. And actually, ever since that event, I always do my best to ensure that I would first better understand the cultural environment of the other person, and take that as a starting point to understand how to evolve a conversation and how people perform best given their values. And luckily enough, she also stayed on to work with me for another 7 years. So I believe the main takeaway from this example is that, as with any failure stories, to avoid sugarcoating it. So notice it was quite obvious it was a mistake on my end, and however, I did put it in a positive context, as she stayed on to work with me for many years to come. Now, besides this, I also have an entire other videos with failure stories if you would like to see more examples on this topic. One of my clients are in the art gallery business, and I'm in charge of handling their digital presence and their communications. And in one such instance, I remember that an artist sent me everything that was required on time, and everything with great quality. And despite the fact that I published that in a newsletter on the social media, and I added the artist on the website itself, I forgot to add the invitation on the homepage of the website. So when somebody would visit our gallery's website, they wouldn't see what's going on during what artist was exhibiting there. And to make matters worse, I actually found out about this from the owners, because the artists complained to the owner that their invitation is not on the website. So I immediately fixed the problem by updating the homepage of the website, and then apologized to the artist. And ever since, I've now have a procedure in place while dealing with these events. As soon as the artists are sending me the materials, I have to follow a checklist, just not to forget doing something for their digital presence. And I would also want to emphasize here that they are my clients for the past 6 years. So this is another classic failure example, and as with any failure stories, you should be relatively concise, describing the action part of the star answer, and then focus on the results part, as I did here. That I designed a new system that checklist to actually ensure that this would never happen again. And it's always a good idea to end it on a positive note. That's how I ended it as well, saying that they are my clients for 6 years. Of course, this type of mistake does not does not substantially diminish my probability to get hired at any company, because it was a simple omission, right? So I just simply had to apologize and to move on. And I've said this before, but the way that you tell the story, it's often more important than the story itself. So as always, I hope you found this information useful, and thank you very much for watching.